Okay, we just removed the front part that we just showed you from the front of the airsoft foregrip. It's now open on the front. The next thing we're going to want to do is use our Dremel or our saw and going to remove this clip from the front and round it. We don't have to make it perfect. We're going to go over it again with sandpaper and Bondo, but we got to remove this. Okay, we have now removed the clip that we just showed you, and it opens up this area at the bottom of the foregrip. We're going to fill that up, but right now this foregrip's almost there to where we need it to be. We're going to take the shells apart, and with our Dremel we're going to remove these parts, the main parts from the center. We want to keep these screw attachment points because we're going to use the screws to hold the shells together. We just want to remove these so that the barrel will be able to go through. Okay, we now have our two foregrip clamshells. We have taken this large plastic part that we showed you out of the center. That'll allow your barrel to pass through. And we also widened up the front because paintball barrels are a lot wider than airsoft barrels. So now the front, you can see, is much wider. We have the clip taken off the front, back's cut, and right now you could start doing just some basic rough fitting. Slide it right over the barrel, and you can see it will butt right up against the front of the XP5 foregrip. Now, we still have a while to go, but that's pretty much the gist of it. This portion is going to be right up against the front. We're totally going to have to clean up that seam, get rid of this little angle that's coming down, and we're probably going to have to sand off just a little bit to make it even so it doesn't have that downward slope. And we will epoxy the front foregrip to the back one. Now, one thing that is very important, aside from how it looks from the side, is how it lines up from the back. That you really have to check that, because you're cutting two totally different parts and putting them together. So you can see right now, if we were to epoxy it together just how it is, it's crooked. The XP5 foregrip and the line that runs down the length of the Euro battle rifle foregrip don't line up. They're a little out. So what you need to do is eyeball it, and with your saw we could see that the XP5 foregrip needs to allow the battle rifle one to, line straight up. In order to do that, we're going to need to, on this side, shave off a little bit more at an angle with our saw to try to let the battle rifle foregrip align. So we're going to do that right now. We're just going to grind off a little bit of material from the one side so it'll shimmy over a little bit. Okay, it took a couple minutes of adjusting on the saw, but you can now see where the two foregrips pretty much line up straight now. So when you put this on your X7, it's not going to be all crooked off to the side. You want it as straight as possible from the side and from the back. Okay, now from the XP5 foregrip, the front section that we cut and discarded earlier, remove these screws from the back and pop the sight and this top part. Okay, we now have this top section removed from the lower part of the XP5 foregrip. Next thing we're going to do is this front part. Take the Allen screw out and pop it off. We don't need that. We now want to, with our saw or Dremel, right along the back of the sight, cut that all the way around, and we want to discard the shaft part, and we want to keep the front sight. Okay, we chopped off the back portion, and this is what we're left with. The front sight flat on the front and the back, and it has the dovetail groove, which your XP5 foregrip comes you're going to put them together, and this is going to be the front of your Euro battle rifle foregrip. It'll go right on the front, and Bondo clean it up, epoxy, screws, all that stuff. But in essence, that's what you're going to have. So on to the next part.